Hype is a real thing, especially in any type of collecting. When people hype up a statue, part of you wants it more. That is definitely the case with these two custom Venom kits. So a kit is an unpainted statue, and I bought these because of the hype train. They sold out in like 10-15 minutes. You guys know I love custom Venom statues. He is arguably my second favorite character of all time. And what's funny about a hype train like this is everybody jumped on board, then everyone's trying to offload it, some even cheaper than retail. I didn't go down that route. While it's a kit, and we're going to talk about the difficult intricacies of that during this review, I'm so glad I have these. The hype train did pay off. A lot of time it doesn't. But let's dive into both this Del Auto and McFarlane custom Venom kits. Did I use the plural right? As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we're giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey, thanks for tuning in. My name is Mr. X. This is the Extreme channel. A big part of the channel is all about extreme collectibles, and I have some pretty cool unpainted statues in front of me. Now, typically, if you look behind me, you see all those statues back there? Most of the time, they come painted. However, sometimes when it's a custom, which is what these are, they're private unlicensed commissions, they come as a kit only and you have to paint it. Well, if you're a follower of the channel, you know that I recently got my wife into statue painting. She actually did her first project right here, and she's done 3 or 4 since, and she has 4 or 5 on the table, including these. Now, she's never done a Venom statue, which can be a little bit difficult, so we'll see how these turn out. We'll definitely do a video after it's done, so make sure you've not only liked this video, but you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification. Now, they offer this in 2 different versions. One is a Del Auto, one is a McFarlane. Those are actually the artists that portrayed the Venoms. So the biggest difference we're going to show you later is the hands and the portraits. And they did that specifically so you don't have to have switch out options and seam lines, which is kind of nice. And they did them at an affordable rate for the most part. We'll talk all about that in value of the review. So I now have both of these in my hands, and a lot of people don't like buying kits. As I alluded to in the intro, a lot of people were jumping off the hype train. These kits are kind of the big problem. To find a good professional painter, you're going to pay at least another $500 to $1,500 in shipping and painting just to get these painted. Like I said, thankfully I'm sleeping with one. Also, my wife does them as well. So anyway, let's dive into the review of both of these. I'm going to try and review both of them at the same time because while they are different, they're very, very similar. So kind of bear with me. I don't know how we're going to do it with the photos and the angles and everything like that, but we're going to attempt it for sure. Now keep in mind, the paint can attribute to the concept a little bit, and that's to be determined. I don't know if we're going to paint both of them the same, both of them different. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. All right, I'm going to keep the turntable going during concept simply for the fact that I like to show both of them. But concept is pretty basic, so this is what we call a museum Venom, which means it has a more simplistic base. You can see that down at the bottom. There are some symbiote / tendrils / webs in there. Again, we can paint it to look whatever we look like. We can paint it however we want. But as you move up, he's in a museum, a static pose, so he's not doing a lot of action. He's kind of lumbering around. Now, this is a big Venom, as you can see. We're going to do the measurements, but it is a very imposing Venom, takes up a lot of space. He's very nasty. He's just walking towards you, which can be scary in itself, but it is rather boring. Now, I knew that when I purchased it, of course, but I like a little bit difference in some of the other Venoms I have where they're always sitting on top of a building or in a sewer, so I appreciate that. Now, the anatomy and the print, which we'll talk more about in the sculpt, is fantastic on this, but he's very muscularized out. He has the tendrils kind of moving all over him, and depending how you paint it, you can make it look alive. And then, of course, like I talked about, those classic portraits at top. The huge claws, and then the spider symbol on the front of each one, and moving to the back, and we're going to decide how we're going to paint that. Then, of course, those classic McFarlane and Del Auto portraits, which I like both of them, to be honest with you. Probably why I bought both of them. So concept is fine. It's a 3 out of 5. 3 is not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It is what it is. It's what you paid for. So now we're going to dive into the design. Again, very simplistic. Now I will show you a quick unboxing and assembly, but before I do that, let's measure them. The diameter of the base, the bottom of the base is a little bit bigger than the top, is about 13 inches. The top is about 10. And then, as I said, this is a large piece, so it's about 21.5 inches or so. So Venom himself is about 19 and a half, which insinuates he's about 78 inches or so, which is about 6'6", which is probably pretty accurate. I know the commissioner of these is a big proponent of the comics because Eddie Brock was a very big dude. The suit adds a little bit more. Here's a quick look at the unboxing and assembly. 2 boxes, one for each statue, of course. They were both packed with the custom black foam. No straps or tape. That is the base plate sticker you can see right there. So first layer had a few of the parts that we're going to talk about, and then Venom body himself, and then underneath this layer was the actual base. So pretty simple, pretty small. Now, one thing with a kit or an unpainted statue like this, it's usually a little bit different. The reason why the teeth and the tongue are separate pieces, it's easier to paint them by taking them out. That's why they do that. Then you'd eventually permanently glue it in. Now, I also had tiny little tendril pieces. You can't see them, but they're the parts that are going to go on here on Venom on both of the statues. There is a little spot on there you'll see during the sculpt. It does come with the base stickers as well for both of them, and then little pads for the bottom so you don't ruin the base sticker. All right, so let me show you the differences between the two because I think that's important. So again, they didn't want seam lines, so they offered it in 2 different formats. Here's a close-up of the McFarlane portrait, and there is a tongue on the inside. It just isn't out of the mouth. And then you have the Dell'Otto where the tongue is swirling all over the place. And then here is the Dell'Otto claws. And then the McFarlane claws are more like nails. So the assembly is not too bad, especially for a kit. Some are true garage kits where you have to put everything together, but I think this was printed as one piece. So everything fit really well. I think technically if you wanted to, you could flip the Venoms around and they'd be facing the other way, but part of this lead foot would be sitting off. So clearly that's the wrong way to do it. But otherwise, there's not really a lot to talk about. Again, it's a 3 out of 5. It's fine. It is what it is. This is the category we jump into paint and sculpt. Clearly, we're not going to judge the paint. I don't know if I'm going to do them the same or different. I think different's the way to go. So maybe one will have a lot more blue hues to it. A lot of times the Venom symbiote suit has that blue intermixed with it. Maybe these white parts, you know, the pads on his hand, the Spidey symbol, one of them will have a lot more hues inside of that instead of just plain white. I don't like it when it's the dirty white, so I won't go that way, but maybe some blue in it. Also the paint, I don't know how I'm going to do the fingernails. Kind of have 3 choices. You can kind of mix them in with the suit. You can make them a nice shiny enamel black, or you can do them white. So we'll figure that out. Maybe I'll do it different on each one. But here is some close-ups and my thoughts on the sculpt. All right, so other than the nails and the portrait again, everything is pretty much the same. But base looks good. I can't decide again if we're going to do black on it and have it a museum style with a little bit of symbiote on top of it. So we definitely have to figure that out. But it looks good. It's clean. One of the things you're going to notice, the print. So when they actually print the statue here, it's flawless. I love a lot of the stuff that's going on. So obviously you have the tendrils everywhere, kind of insinuating it's going to move, and I think the paint will really pop. But then look at the texture in his skin, almost this wavy pattern throughout. I think, once again, that will really help the statue move and give life to it when the paint is added. But really, on top of all that, and I like how it's layered on, looks really cool, but I love the anatomy on this. You know, Eddie Brock is a bodybuilder, and then Venom kind of accentuates that, and I think they did it really well here. Fantastic shoulders, biceps, triceps. Look at the quads. I mean, really, really nice job. I love the anatomy. Look at the back. America's ass, I guess, right there. You do see the spider symbol, so it is indented. A lot of times you see it protruding. It is indented, which I actually prefer. So definitely gonna get that painted on there. Really like that. And the neck stretching out, classic Venom. Again, just so much movement on this, and I think it's gonna look really cool once it's painted. So the portraits, right there, you'll see where the, not the tendrils, but the additional pieces go. Now, everything's not sat in flush right now because I didn't want to push it in too hard.
That's what she said.
But again, like I said, it's removable. There's his tongue on the inside, kind of hard to tell. But that classic McFarlane jaw, then the big eyes right there. And here's those huge nails and claws. And then over on this one, you have the nails that kind of come out the back. And then the Del Otto, kind of known for those tiny eyes. And then, of course, this huge tongue coming out. And again, the bottom isn't flush right here. It will be once everything's painted, but to show you how removable it is. And again, there's one piece for the tendrils and another on that side. But fantastic job on this sculpt, in my opinion. It's done really, really well. It's really impressive. So if you do have a museum that, or a Venom that's kind of lacking in the other things we talked about it, this is what you want to knock it out of the park, and I think they did. So Sculpt, obviously, like I said, we're not rating the paint. I think it's fantastic. I think it's done really well. I think the Sculpt's a 5 out of 5, which is what you want out of a kit. So really impressed by that. Very, very happy. Now we're going to go into value. This is a tough one because, like I said, I'm getting mine painted for free, other than the cost of materials, because my wife is actually doing it. But I think we'll judge it from a non-free painting aspect. So the kits retailed for $700 each, which is nice because some custom groups now are more than twice that for just the kit. From a custom standpoint, it is affordable. However, from a normal 1/4 scale, because that's what this is, 4 times smaller than the real life version, $700 for an unpainted statue that you have to pay $500 to $1,500 more is outrageous, especially since it's pretty basic. So the fact that I see these already going for sale at retail and people trying to offload them, I think the value right now is a 2 out of 5, unfortunately. And I say that because there are so many custom Venom statues. There's so many custom Venom kits. Some are done really well. And kind of an interesting fact, one of the big ones I missed out on, if you're in the statue world a lot, the King Venom. I don't know why I didn't get that. I should have. I was even told to buy it, and I told the person no, I didn't want one. I like that better unpainted than painted. So I'm a little worried about these too. Maybe I'll like them better unpainted than I will painted. Maybe Venom got turned to stone or something. I don't know. These look fantastic unpainted though. Now, do they have the X factor? No, these are definitely not some of my favorite Venom statues. I can't wait to see what they're going to look like right up there on the Venom wall. If you want to see what they look like before they're painted and even some updates throughout, check out the Extreme Channel social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. The link for those is in the description below. But I think they're a nice, solid 3 out of 5 statue. I think if the paint is done right, they would be a solid 4 out of 5, possibly even a 5 out of 5. So it looks like I have a lot of expectations for Mrs. X, which is nothing new. What do you guys think? Have you ever bought a kit? Do you like buying kits? Some people love it, some people hate it. Throw that down in the comments below. I love to interact with you guys. I read every single comment. And also, you could win a statue with that comment. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. All right, so not a lot of jokes today, but again, that's because I was talking a lot about my wife, and you don't joke about your wife, because that bitch will screw you up. But I appreciate you guys watching. Please hit a like. It really helps the channel. It's free. Represent Venom. Take care.